Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And who are you going to call? Clownfish TV?
No one's calling Clownfish TV.
Nobody wants to call us. We're going to talk about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, technically Ghostbusters 4. And the trailer looks pretty good, guys. It looks pretty good, but that's not what we want to talk about. What we want to talk about is media outlets are basically shutting up about Ghostbusters 2016.
They're not saying much.
No, this is very, very different from even 6 or 8 months ago. There were all kinds of hit pieces out there talking about how, sexist it was that they stepped over 2016 and where are we going to get our sequel to, Answer the Call and yada, 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 yada. And this is, again, last fall. Now the new trailer drops. It looks awesome. It's gotten a ton of views on YouTube. And I'm not hearing much. It's pretty much like, yeah, hey, cool, Annie Potts is back. We got Classic Ghost. We got the gang back together. And it's in New York, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah, like there's basically like if you look through it, it's like trailer, here's what the trailer does, here's what the trailer says. And the other one you clicked on a minute ago was just like, here's what Leslie Jones said, and here's why it's not fair, and, sexist assholes and all that.
Yeah, so let's let's talk about this. And I don't think this is gonna happen. Let's talk about this because I think the pendulum is swinging back pretty hard. Just in general, we have another video coming up talking about Star Wars, and I think a lot of these studios, a lot of these companies, rights holders that have legacy franchises like Ghostbusters and Star Wars and some comic book stuff, whatever. I think they're like, yeah, hey media, shut the hell up. We want to actually sell tickets. You're not doing us any favors, and or the people that were causing problems are no longer there. That's because
the pop culture sites shut down.
Yeah, all the journalism is imploding. Pop culture sites are some of the first to go, and
they've had massive layoffs.
So I think they are shutting up about Ghostbusters 2016 because they want to keep their jobs. And I'm sorry,
I think they got rid of a lot of people that were, constantly complaining.
Oh yeah, and I think there have been. I think some people have had some of the people that are still there at some of these sites. I've noticed, just not Ghostbusters in particular, but other topics. I've noticed that they've really calmed down, and I think they had a come to Jesus moment. A come to Jesus meeting with their bosses who are like, you are on the verge of losing your job. We've already fired what's-her-face who was out there writing all kinds of hit pieces about the sexist Star Wars fans. And it's like, she's gone. You're going to be next unless you just stick to sports. And I think that's what's going on. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Now, what's interesting about Ghostbusters 2016, my personal feeling on it is that it was the beginning of, I think the real beginning of this kind of like culture war crap that we've been seeing.
We were seeing it in comics prior to that, like 2014, 2013, somewhere in there, maybe in 2012. I was seeing it. That's when I was interviewed, and then they wouldn't put my comments in because they weren't like, well, you're not saying women are kept out.
Yeah.
And so I was seeing it, and I mean, like, again, I have a different perspective than a lot of people because I was, in the comic stuff going on at the time. But I think it was in comics first. I know when we were working on trying to get the publishing deal for Crimson Ren and Shadowbinders the first time, it was around that time too. And that's when we saw a shift where they weren't picking it up unless you were a certain type of person. If you were, would be both been women, that would have been different kind of thing. So I saw it before that. But when it became mainstream, I think, the catalyst was the 2016 Ghostbusters, which I think that hit the discussion 2014, 2015. So around that time.
Yeah, whenever the trailer dropped for it and people were like, what the hell is this? Is a reboot with all women and it doesn't look very funny.
When they announced they were making it, people were like, oh, why? The first thing they were like, why do we need this at all? That was the first comment. Yeah. And then when they said that, it's because you hate women. It's like, no, it's because they're like, why do we need this at all?
So how much of that, knowing what we know now and knowing how much of this outrage is fabricated by the studios, how much of that was actually whipped up to, get people to go see the movie because they want to be the right kind of people? You can't say whipped. Oh my God.
That implies violence against somebody.
But you know what I'm saying? Like
unless she asked for it.
Yeah, unless she asked for it, right? Oh, Madam Web's coming out this month too. But like, we saw this with HBO, right? We saw HBO got busted No pun intended.
Yeah.
Busted makes them feel good. They got busted using sock puppet accounts, using their interns to create false, drama. And I think that was going on with the media. I don't think
100%. I think that was going across the board. They're just the ones who got caught.
At the end of the day, all that matters are the box office receipts, and the box office receipts for Ghostbusters 2016, regardless of how you feel about the movie, and some people like it, and that's fine. But regardless of how you feel about it, it was not a hit. It cost way too much money, and nobody wanted to go see it.
And that's what we're going to talk about here too, because you've had the journalists going out and attacking people for not agreeing with them. And it's funny because I was just talking about this today with some people, and it comes down to more about they couldn't stand it. Someone didn't agree with them, and it was a bunch of people who were very thin-skinned, very into their own opinions, and they just literally cannot take people not agreeing with them. So you have to be some kind of istophobic tool bag, obviously, otherwise you'd agree with them because they're the decent, moral person. You're not. And we saw this start around this time, and it did come from journalists that if you didn't like it, you're a bad person. But the box office receipts, the numbers for shows show that the larger audience, the normies, the people across the globe, politics aside, your istophobia crap aside, it didn't do well. It didn't resonate with everybody. Not everybody could be a misogynistic, I hate women asshole.
Yeah. I mean, they were basically, I think they knew they were screwed because people were not happy with this movie. And, you run this by anybody and it's a dumb idea. Why the hell would you reboot Ghostbusters? Why the hell would you do that? And, they were just trying to do damage control, and then the media chimed in. And it was good for business, right? I mean, look, all this, I don't think a lot of these journalists are that stupid that they think that their hot takes are what most people believe. I think some of them are activists. A lot of them are activists, and they think that they're actually doing good, trying to challenge people's perceptions of whatever. I think at the end of the day, most of them just want the hits, and they know whacking that beehive gets hits.
I think somewhat, but I also don't think that is. I honestly think that a lot of them are that thin-skinned, and they got themselves in these seats, and they're like, yeah, no, I'm the voice now, man. And then they're in there like, constantly trying to cause division. And where I think sometimes, yes, it's because they're trying to get clicks, especially like as of late since everything seems to be shifting. But I know some of them legitimately believe it. Like, you don't like it and I like it. Okay, Last Jedi, for example. The journalists ate that shit up. It was like they were the target demo, whatever, thin-skinned, all about me. I have to be special. Everybody's special because I want to be special people. Could not fucking stand. The people did not like The Last Jedi. They had horrible manifestos dedicated to why everybody doesn't like it, hates women, they're sexist, they're racist, and all this other shit. Never mind that a lot of people who didn't like it, weren't white, straight, and male. They had these manifestos dedicated to it because they personally were so mad people didn't like what they liked. And then when Rise of Skywalker came out and it walked it all back, the same people that were like giving it 10 out of 10 for Last Jedi were the ones screaming the hardest about Rise of Skywalker, walking it back for all those incel man babies who can't stand strong women. So some of them, I think it legitimately was. They're just that insecure and sad.
It became Ghostbusters 2016 and Last Jedi, and we'll talk more about Star Wars in another video. There's basically two parts of the same discussion, but like those two movies, more than anything, became a litmus test. Whether or not you like Ghostbusters 2016, whether or not you like The Last Jedi, basically told somebody what kind of person you were.
And since I didn't like either one, I hate strong women.
Do you hate strong women? You hate women.
I am racist and I hate women. I just hate them because,
So I saw this article on Game Rant a couple days ago. Ghostbusters isn't working as a franchise, and they're trying to say that nobody's excited about Frozen Empire.
That's not true from what I'm seeing.
We'll go out and look at the views on YouTube and see.
Enthusiastic response where? Because the trailer had a lot of views on it, didn't it?
The original had kind of. Let's see what the new one. The new one looks more Ghostbusters.
I'm thinking of the Despicable Me 4, which had like millions of views.
Oh, yeah.
So never mind.
So if we go out to YouTube, it's number 3 on trending, the trailer, which is significantly better. The last trailer the teaser did okay, but I remember thinking like that is really low. But this one's actually doing a lot better. I've seen a lot more buzz. This one's showing
a lot more. The international trailer shows even more on
the international trailer shows a lot more, yeah.
I'm really excited about this one. I don't want it to suck. I know they're basing it, and they've said that they're trying to base it more on the cartoon,
which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, because they had some crazy wild, like that was the first thing I thought when I saw the new villain, whatever the new villain is. I'm like, this looks like something out of the real Ghostbusters because
And
they
they
were
said that's what
wild.
they're trying for. That was the vibe they're trying to go for, and I think that's smart. And I think that I don't know how it's going to be. I really hope to God it doesn't suck because this is like the one thing I'm actually looking forward to this year. I want it to be good, but who knows? I like that they're bringing it back to New York because we've talked before. New York itself is its own character it is definitely its own character in the movies. It's always been its own character.
I liked Afterlife. That was the one thing for me that was kind of like, you really need to have Ghostbusters take place in New York. It has to take place in New York.
I liked Afterlife a lot better than 2016, but it wasn't. And I liked it better than Ghostbusters 2, I'd say, but it wasn't Ghostbusters.
Well, that's kind of what the article. Now, what was interesting about this article? So this was written, 5 days ago before the new trailer dropped. The new trailer, I'm super pumped about this movie. God, please do not let me down on this one.
Like, we're a whole family. Like, we're talking like my siblings, my parents. We're all like going to go see it because it's like, yeah.
This is all we wanted, a mix of old and new Ghostbusters together in the movie pretty much the whole time
They're
together.
Kill one of them.
Bill Murray, probably.
One of them's getting gone. You know it.
I'm sure. But I'm saying, like, this is what everybody wanted. They wanted, and that's what they thought they were going to get, was a passing the torch movie last time, or even with Ghostbusters 2016, which what threw me about that one, beyond the fact that it wasn't a very good movie, was that it didn't even take place in the same universe. So, like, why do you need to reboot it? Why couldn't Holtzman be Spengler's kid or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are a lot of ways you could have handled it. But
God, every time I think about the movie, I cringe. Anyway.
I do think the Holtzman character, I'm being honest here, because I like Kate McKinnon. I think she's funny. But I think that character toned down a little bit in a different movie would work, because they were going for the real Ghostbusters Egon, the look and kind of the sense of not sense of humor, but it was the look definitely. But anyway, this article came out like 5 days ago, and they're like, oh, Ghostbusters doesn't work as a franchise, and basically their whole theory is that only the original Ghostbusters movie is any good, which, look, it's, absolutely positively the best thing that's been done with Ghostbusters is that first movie. 2 was 16 was Afterlife was significantly better, and hopefully Frozen Empire is pretty good, but I don't expect it to be as good as Ghostbusters. I mean, it's lightning in a bottle. But you get all the way to the bottom and they talk about how, the follow-ups weren't very good. You have to go all the way to the bottom, the very last paragraph, for them to even mention 2016.
Everybody's stepping over it, even
pretty much, yeah.
So.
They said the 2016 reboot, any controversial aspects of it aside, was not a good movie.
It was not.
But then they're trying to say, ironically, though, it still stands as the most faithful follow-up to the original Ghostbusters.
Do not agree.
No, not at all. Because it leans into the mean-spirited, ironic nature that made Ghostbusters so funny. No.
It wasn't funny. The difference is Ghostbusters funny. Ghostbusters 2016, not funny.
No, it wasn't. It was cringy. It was like a parody of Ghostbusters.
Wonton to broth ratio. Was it the veil? We're going to do a dance about our science project.
Oh my God, the veil thing. That was just, God, the Hemsworth's dance was just the awful.
Oh, they cut that out of the theatrical release. Thank God.
Because the first version we saw of it was actually the uncut, because I think we saw it on digital and it was uncut. And I was like, what the hell? There's a reason these scenes were cut. Anyway, I'm just saying, and I'm sure there's plenty of time between now and the end of March for journos to start acting up, but I think they're either the problem makers are gone or they have their marching orders to shut the hell up. And we've seen it with comics. I know other people have been making the observation. They're like, the people that usually whack the beehive are shutting the hell up because they know they're not going to get work if they keep acting up on Twitter. And I think it's the same with journos. It's like, you are very close to losing your job. You probably will lose your job at some point this year. You're going to hasten getting gone if you go out there and start calling a bunch of people bigots for liking Afterlife over 2016 or some shit like that. So shut the hell up. Anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay.
I just, like you were saying, I think we're going to talk about it again in the next video. I'm not sure which one will go up first, but we're doing 2. It's just, I think that, I think part of it is that they're just not there anymore. I
Yeah.
think we're not hearing it so much. I'm not saying we won't hear it all, because I know we will hear it. They'll do it for
We
sure.
will. They'll shriek about it.
But I don't think we're seeing it as much, because a lot of journalists got cut. And I think that a lot of the people that were the troublemakers were probably the first ones to get gone.
Yeah, you make yourself very disposable. When you're causing trouble for your company, you're very, very disposable. So watch yourselves. Gonna wrap it up?
Yeah.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.